the first time ever here at Autzen Stadium. It is a top 5 showdown. Howard steps up. It's caught. Jeremiah Smith. The legend grows. Gabriel makes a move. He's gone. Touchdown Ducks. Howard's going to run for it. Time runs out, and that'll do it.
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome to the Big Ten, Oregon. They storm the field at Autzen.
After blowouts in the first round, we are down to the final 8. Texas, Arizona State in the Peach Bowl, Ohio State, Oregon, Rose Bowl. Fiesta Bowl has Penn State and Boise State, and Notre Dame and Georgia without Carson Beck in the Sugar Bowl. Let's start off with that Ohio State-Oregon game rematch from Week 7. Of course, Oregon held on for a 1-point win, but this is the game that matters. Ohio State looks so good in their first round matchup. So who will win this time around?
I got to go with Oregon, and you have to go with Oregon based upon everything they have shown you. Who am I to doubt the team that went undefeated this season? Who am I to doubt the team that already beat the opponent that they are about to play? Who am I to doubt the team that's led by a quarterback that has started more games than any quarterback in college football? Who am I to doubt the team that has a coach that is fearless, that is ferocious, that is tenacious? Who am I to doubt that team? I got a lot of doubts for Ohio State, and I have reason to doubt Ohio State. You saw them in big-time games not play at a big-time stage throughout the course of the season. We've seen Ryan Day cower, not to be confused with being a coward. We've seen him cower before. We've seen Will Howard struggle and have incredibly bad games. Dylan Gabriel earlier on in the season, red zone, I didn't like what he was doing. Since then, he's gotten it fixed. But also, players are a reflection of their coach. The coach sitting next to me knows this very well. The coach in Dan Lanning, you see his players reflect him. Confidence. Angry, aggressive. The players at Ohio State with Ryan Day, what is he going to come out like for? So to deny confidence in Oregon, would be to deny what Oregon has put on tape all year long.
Yeah. I can't say enough good things about Oregon, and you know that's hard to do from where I come from. I think Dylan Gabriel is the best quarterback in college football, but I'm going to stick with my initial prediction, and I predicted that Ohio State would lose at Autzen Stadium. That happened. And I thought they'd rematch again on a neutral site field, and Ohio State would get them. And I was ready to jump off that bandwagon after the Michigan game. But then they got some things right.
They did.
They had some meetings, and they practiced hard, and they got some things right. And I thought when they came out and played Tennessee, that looked like a different football team to me, particularly with Will Howard. Within 3 passes, I'm like, this guy looks different. He's playing with confidence. And that really changed things for me. They ran the ball. They forced to get the ball to Jeremiah Smith, had 8 catches, 2 touchdowns. He started changing the game right away. So I like Ohio State. They could win it all if they can play with that swagger, play with that confidence, not play with fear.
That's the key.
Remember, Tennessee's defense has been lights out all season long until they faced Ohio State. It's almost unfair that Oregon has to play.
I know, already.
Ohio State in this round right here. It's going to be sweet, though. Speaking of sweet, let's talk about the Sugar Bowl. Georgia will be without Carson Beck for the remainder of their season after the starting quarterback underwent surgery to repair the UCL in his right elbow. Beck, of course, was injured in the Bulldogs' SEC championship victory over Texas. So redshirt sophomore Gunnar Stockton took over under center for Georgia and led them to that win. So you got Stockton in there. You saw what he was able to do against your Texas Longhorns in the Sugar Bowl. Can Georgia overcome the loss of Carson Beck and get the upset in this win?
I don't believe they can overcome it to win a national championship. I do believe they can overcome it this weekend. I say that because Gunnar Stockton hasn't proven to be a passer at the collegiate level. I know he has at the high school level. It's different. Also, remember this. Players throughout the course of the week, fans and family at home, you review what the starter does. Carson Beck, we get a sheet every Monday, and Coach can attest to this. Hey, Carson Beck, 25% of his passes go to the left, between 5 to 10 yards. 30% of his passes go down the center. 20% of his passes go to the right. When Gunnar Stockton came in the game, you have no game plan.
Right.
So what Gunnar Stockton did versus Texas, they had no idea what he was going to do. Right now, Notre Dame knows what's coming. I think Gunnar Stockton and I think Georgia will be very one-dimensional. I trust them to get past Notre Dame because of defense. I don't trust them to go all the way.
Man, hey, this is going to be a defensive battle. The over-under might be 20 in this game. It should be. All right, how about the Fiesta Bowl, something that Coach knows very well, Penn State? Their defense and their wins against their losses, you see what they're able to do, and they've been relying on that defense all season long. In particular, look at the rush yards per game allowed. They are top 7 in the nation, allowing rushing yards on the ground, but in their losses, they've given up over 170 rushing yards per game, and they got to face Ashton Jeanty. So what's the key for Boise State to upset the Nittany Lions in this game?
Well, the first thing that hits my brain is maybe a couple trick plays out of the gate. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? But I do think it's going to come down to Boise State's offensive line. Can they block that front seven of Penn State? Penn State is not exotic on defense, but their curveball is a lot of defensive line movement. And I think we've seen throughout the year with Boise State, when that offensive line keeps those guys covered up and Genty can get the play started, not get hit in the backfield, he is going to do some damage. So I think it really comes down to, on offense, that offensive line. On defense, they're going to have to do a great job communicating. Penn State is moving and shifting and all kinds of formation, and Tyler Warren, the All-American tight end, lines up all over. That creates a lot of issues to get yourself lined up defensively correctly. So they're going to have to do a great job communicating. And then I think that defense is going to have to create some short fields, get a turnover to a special team play where it creates a short field to really do something a little bit different than maybe the experts are expecting.
Now, both of these teams undefeated in the Fiesta Bowl, played 3-0 for Boise State, 7-0 for Penn State. Ash and Genty, 132 yards, pass and Barry on the all-time list. Meanwhile, Texas, all season long, relied on that defense. I know they got some great players on offense, but look at the defensive ranks right here. Top 3 in these major categories. So, Acho, Texas looks so good against Clemson. First round matchup. They got Arizona State, the Big 12 champions, coming in. They got to play this game right here, and it's okay. It's the Peach Bowl.
It's just so good.
Okay.
That Texas defense is just so. It's good, Mike.
Okay.
As a defensive player, Coach, you know this better than anybody. You live for one moment, a goal line stand. And Texas did it against Clemson, 38-24, game on the line. I was in the stadium in DKR watching from the sideline. Texas did it against A&M with the game on the line. You live for those moments. This Texas defense is prepared for this moment. They are prepared for Arizona State. They are going to gang tackle. It's going to look like a defensive meeting at the football. I have full confidence in what Texas is able to do because I have full confidence in the Texas defense.
Not just in this game, but going forward?
1,000% against anybody.
Let's make some money. Time now for Bear Bets as we welcome in our gambling guru, Chris the Bear Felica. And Bear, happy holidays first and foremost. But with the bowl season upon us, we begin with our game on Fox here tonight. What bet do you like in this Syracuse-Washington State matchup?
Yeah, I'm looking at Kyle McCord's passing yardage total tonight, and I'm going to go under 330.5. Look, I love the fact that Fran Brown has come out and said, hey, he's a football player. These are football players. They're playing in this bowl game, and that's great. But I do think it's an opportunity once Kyle McCord does get that ACC passing record tonight. It's a chance to maybe get some other guys involved. I don't anticipate this being a super close game, so I think it's a chance where you're going to see Syracuse get up. McCord will come out of the game after he gets that record, and some other guys on the orange get involved. So I'm going to go McCord under 330.5.
The FBS passing leader, he's thrown for at least 320 in 11 of his 12 games so far this season. But take the under because Bear says take the under. And with the CFP quarterfinals now just days away, Bear, what are the smartest bets for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day?
Yeah, I looked at Penn State minus 11 against Boise. This is a game where you look at what the Penn State defensive line was able to do against SMU, creating a ton of havoc. They got a couple of pick sixes in that game. I don't know how Abdul Carter is going to be blocked in this game. I don't know how Boise State's offensive line is really going to be able to open up a ton of running lanes for Ashton Genty. And look, I know Penn State's offense was not great against SMU, but I think they will be better here. I just think ultimately it's a situation where as the game wears on, you're going to see Allen and Singleton and that Penn State offense have a tendency to kind of wear Boise down. And look, this is a game where usually you see James Franklin and Penn State, when they're in that favored role of between like 7 and 14 points, these are the types of games that they typically dominate in, and I expect them to go out and win by double digits on next week.
And Bear, finally, what about Notre Dame and Georgia in the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day? What do you like about that one?
I landed on Georgia minus 1.5, and I talked to a lot of people in my prep, and someone who I spoke to is familiar with both teams. I said to them, I go, Notre Dame's taking a lot of support and a lot of money here in this game, and he was kind of surprised by that because he said, look, both teams have mobile quarterbacks, both teams get good defenses, good running games, but Georgia just has better players. So he was surprised that Notre Dame was taking a lot of support, and he also added, he goes, now the wild card is Gunnar Stockton, and he goes, Trust me, however, I've seen this kid at practice the last couple of years playing against Georgia's ones defensively. He can throw the ball. So I'm curious to see how he fares with an extra 3 weeks of practice with the ones off of the experience in the SEC title game. I ultimately did land on Georgia -1.5, like I said.
All right, see what happens with him replacing Carson Beck in that starting lineup for Georgia. Always great seeing you, Bear. Thanks for joining us and enjoy the new year.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.